Should men be a lone wolf? That is the question that we are going to explore and dive right into the center of that fire and turn up the heat. Welcome to the Man on Fire Rising podcast. I'm your host and the creator of Man on Fire, David Mailer. So, should men be a lone wolf? Well, yes, wolves can be, or men can be independent. They could be self reliant and they like to work and they like to act and they like to live alone. I've been there at various stages of my life. But the real question is, rather than should you be a lone wolf, the real question is, will you maximize who you'll become in this lifetime traveling by yourself? So wolves, they rarely break off from their pack. They hunt together, they travel, they play, they eat, they mate. Wolves travel in a pack, and most wolves that break off from that pack end up hungry, end up desperate, and end up dead by winter. So, what's happening to a man that ultimately travels by himself? Maybe the same can be true of that man. And this is no judgment because there's plenty of times in my life that I've traveled as a lone wolf, but that's not what we're talking about together. And even all the other animal and plant and kingdoms, the mammals, they all travel together. You have your herd, which is the hoofed animals like the buffalo or the deer. You have the pack, which are the wolves or the dogs. You have the pride of lions. Yes. You have a pod of dolphins or a pod of whales. You have a school. Yes, a school of fish. You have a colony or a rookery of penguins. I love the penguins. My wife and I recently went to the zoo here in Santa Barbara, and I was fascinated by the penguins. They always look like they're having so much fun. I did see a documentary on the penguins. If anyone hasn't seen that, it's really cool to watch. All right, what else? Monkeys and baboons, they travel as a troop. And then you got the gorillas that travel as a band of gorillas. Yes, a band. Let's get the band back together. You got the kangaroos that travel as a mob. And if you've seen some of the kangaroos, I've seen some of the videos on YouTube in Australia, man, they can be dangerous. So I get why they're called the mob. And then you got the cheetahs that travel as a coalition. And then you got the basque of crocodiles. And you got the slew of bears. You got the colony of bats. And you got the parliament. Yes, the parliament of owls. Who? That's right. The owls. Ooh. For those of you that aren't with me right now, you know what an owl says. Ooh. Okay. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? That's right. That was an owl. All right. So what about for men? What about men? Like, should we travel this way? And my answer is no. Not for the man that truly wants to evolve, not for the man that truly wants to grow, not for the man that truly wants to be championed. Like if you listen to my previous podcasts, I really went deep into how it's essential that men are giving themselves an opportunity to be vulnerable, to be very real, to be raw, to not have to bury their problems, which I'll talk about in the next podcast, and really have a space where not only can you share what's going on in your world, because most men bury it deep inside of them, and that ends up burying them sometimes. But it's an incredible thing when you can actually be in a group of men that not only will hold space for what's going on in your life, problem wise, but also champion you, support you, challenge you, and hold you accountable, hold you to the fire of your true potential. This is exactly why I created the Man on Fire Brotherhood. I was the guy that went to plenty of seminars, plenty of events, and then the event would be over. And next thing you know, you're back being the lone wolf. You're back to yourself. You're back in the bat cave. You're back in your basement. You're back in the garage trying to figure it all out. And the reality is, you end up doing that alone. And as I've shared on a previous podcast, maybe you can go faster going alone, but you'll go further going in a group. So I created the Man on Fire Brotherhood to give men an opportunity after a seminar, after an event of let's band together, let's group together, let's travel as a brotherhood, like as a tribe, where our only mission is to bring the fullness of who we were born to be to this world. Our only mission is to rise with more passion, more power, and more purpose, like a deeper sense of purpose as to why I was born. Our only mission is to champion one another, lift one another, raise one another, where we live in a culture where so many people are putting one another down, judging each other. It takes a lot of courage to look at the man in the mirror and really understand that all your judgments of other people are really just judgments of yourself because you haven't done the healing work to get with that stuff that resides inside of you. So men need brotherhoods. And be careful, because in my previous podcast, I talked about you're born into your family, and sometimes their hurts and their wounds and their traumas get passed to you, but they're not the ones that can hold you accountable and help you rise and help you grow. Then you create your own family with a wife and kids. They're not the ones that can hold you accountable and help you grow. So men need another type of family. Men need to gather together. Men need to come in brotherhood, not to go out and drink and talk crap. No, they need a group of men together, a brotherhood where they say to each other, I see you. I see who you really are. I see who God made you to be, and I will hold you to the fire. I will hold you accountable to living into the fullness of your true potential. So, should men travel as a lone wolf? Maybe at certain stages of your life, it's good. Develop that sense of independence. Maybe it could be healthy for you. But later on, if you really want to grow and you want to like break free, break out of your cage and like rise into a whole new level, a whole new potential, then yes, don't travel by yourself. Don't be the lone wolf. Don't end up starving in wintertime and dead ultimately. Travel in a band, travel in a group, travel in a brotherhood. Get yourself inside a brotherhood, whether it's Man on Fire or another brotherhood. Get in there, not where you talk about problems, but you guys will be held to the fire of stepping into who you really are. All right, guys, if you're new here, welcome again. It is a pleasure always to serve you. Here's to you rising with passion, with power, and a deeper sense of purpose. David Mailer signing off, and please put into the comments, what is your greatest takeaway from today's podcast? Name one thing. And if you know anyone that you feel could benefit from our podcast, I would greatly appreciate if you share it with them. Okay, guys, so much love. See you on the next podcast. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped.